Hi, and welcome to the Access Direct Opening Bell, your essential pre-market podcast. In just minutes, get key global updates, overnight trends, and market-moving factors that set the tone for the day. Whether you're a seasoned trader or just someone tracking the markets, this is your go-to briefing to stay ahead at all times. So let's dive straight in.
Good morning on a Thursday, and we will start with US stocks, which finished up on private data and the Supreme Court's hearing on tariffs. The S&P 500 rose 0.4%, while the Nasdaq 100 advanced 0.7%. Non-farm payrolls showed that the economy added 42,000 jobs in October after experiencing a drop in the previous month, while services PMI expanded at the fastest rate in 8 months. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court looked skeptical of President Trump's tariff measures, with markets betting more than even odds that the decision, due in mid to late December, is likely to go against the administration. Coming to related markets, the VIX fell 5.2% after jumping nearly 11% in the previous session. The dollar index fell and the 10-year yield jumped. Spot gold rose nearly $50 and finished at $3,980 an ounce on the outlook for interest rates, while Brent slipped 1.4% and settled near 63 and a half dollars a barrel on a larger than expected inventory increase. At home, the rupee closed at 88.66 after rising to 88.39 earlier on RBI's intervention in the offshore markets. Repeated attempts to break through the all-time low of 88.81 has kept the central bank actively engaged in the marketplace. Speaking stocks now, and the Nifty finished 166 points down at 25,598. The India VIX also ended lower for the first time in 7 days. Mid-caps and small caps closed down. 5 stocks fell for every 2 stocks that rose on the NSE 500. All of the 12 NSE sectors dropped, with metals becoming the worst performers as they slid 1.4%. PSU banks slipped the least, falling 0.1%. Titan was the best performer on the Nifty as it gained 2.4%, while Power Grid was the worst as it fell 3.1%. Technically speaking, having broken below 25,590 on Tuesday, the price structure is weakening. Next support sits near the 18 September peak of 25,449, but there is a more vital support zone that extends from 25,220 to 25,330. For bulls, the first evidence of a rebound will be a daily close above the previous session's high. Till that happens, it pays to not fight this near-term decline. Elsewhere, provisional data showed that foreigners withdrew 1,067 crores on Tuesday. The month-to-date outflow is now sitting at 2,950 crores. Onto derivatives markets, and the Nifty's put-call ratio went from 0.78 to 0.75, while the bank Nifties went from 0.98 to 0.89. Nifty calls that were added were more than the put addition that was seen, and implied volatility rose about 125 basis points, which means that at the close, people had light positioning for a potential rebound. For options expiring on November 11th, resistance sits between 25,700 and 25,800, while support lies in the 25,300 to 25,500 area. This downshift in levels is a sign of expected weakness. Elsewhere, 1% out of the money puts fell less compared to the drop seen in similar distance calls, and that means vol traders remain negative. On to positioning, and at Tuesday's close, foreigners and prop traders flipped to bearish, while retail investors turned bullish. Meanwhile, the index futures net short positioning of foreigners jumped by nearly 11,000 contracts to over 135,000 contracts as bearish bets continued to expand. Looking forward to the day, the GIFT Nifty opened 114 points higher relative to yesterday's close. Asian stocks were trading in the green, while S&P futures were down around 0.2%. Coming to individual stocks, Nestle India and HDFC AMC were at horizontal support, while Saregama and Suzlon were at horizontal resistance. Elsewhere, Dixon Technologies and Endurance Tech were at trendline support, while DLF, OneSource and Torrent Power were at trendline resistance. Speaking NSE 500 breadth, 54%, 50% and 64% of stocks were above their 50, 100 and 200-day moving averages. HSBC PMI numbers are due today from India, while the US will see the release of initial jobless claims numbers. That wraps up the day's podcast. Please note that this podcast serves solely for informational purposes and should not be considered financial advice of any kind. For a comprehensive disclaimer, please visit our website. Thank you, and we will see you tomorrow at the same time. Have a nice day.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.